Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to all of you wonderful mothers out there. I hope you guys are all staying cool outside because it is still a scorching 80 degrees here at the Milton office. But anyways, let's get right into it. This is a current look at the surface winds around Western Washington. Winds have been coming out of the east for most of the day. They have switched to out of the north at the surface level. If we go up to 2,500 feet, there's still strong easterly outflow winds from the mountains. This is what is keeping some of the temperatures high around the sound. This is what the winds look like at 5,000 feet above sea level. And now the big story is when you go up to 5,500 meters, 500 millibars, you see this little area of rotation right here. That is a mid to upper level low that is forecasted to move to the northwest into western Washington tomorrow afternoon, and that could bring a decent thunderstorm chance to our area. So let's go a little bit more in depth into that. So now it's time to put the graphic into motion. Keep an eye on this upper level low as it moves towards the northwest. Ever so slowly, it'll make its way over the central Oregon Cascades, move on to the west side of Oregon State, southwest Washington, and this is going to be the main ingredient for the potential thunderstorm chance tomorrow afternoon around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. There's still a little bit of disagreement with the forecast models on what time exactly this is going to happen, but as the event moves closer, then we should get a better idea of when and where these storms are going to develop and move through. This time we're going to take a look at the American model. The last one we were looking at was the European model, and see if there's any good agreement on the track of this mid to upper level low. And so far, pretty good agreement between the two models. Shows it moving over the central Oregon Cascades at right around the same time. This is as of 9 a.m. tomorrow. And then this is noon. Now we're right at around the time that the storm should initiate. So right around lunchtime, late lunchtime, early afternoon, like towards the afternoon commute. Lastly, this is the high resolution forecast model. Overall, between the three models, it looks like pretty good agreement on the direction of this low. The next animation I'm playing is a look at the convective available potential energy indices around the Puget Sound, and the main story here is the unusually high level of instability that moves through during the time the thunderstorms are forecasted to move through. This is going to be something to keep an eye on because values 1500 and above are not commonly seen around here. Similar story with the high range European model. Next thing I'm going to do is put a surface level dew point map into motion. Right around the time the storms move through, it is going to be extremely humid down at the surface level. These are dew point indexes of right around 70 degrees, which is going to be very humid for this area. The last windy.com animation I'm going to play for you guys is the relative thunderstorm index. This 3 p.m., very high indices right around the lake taps, foothills area, and then another huge index over Enumclaw before things start to die out. With that being said, let's look at some forecast weather model runs. The first weather forecast model I'll be looking at today is the high resolution rapid refresh 3 km high resolution model. Looking at hour 26 from the 00Z run, this is at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it shows the first thunderstorm start to initiate right around 7 p.m. There's actually a few scattered storms in the southwest interior by 5 p.m., but most of the Puget Sound area will fill in right around 7 p.m., and then it'll be an active night going into, this is 10 p.m., still some storms right around Grace Harbor, Mason County. And then the activity starts to die out a little bit, with the chance maybe Tuesday morning we might have some stray storms over the South Washington Cascades. The next model on the list is the high resolution North American Mesoscale, or NAM 3 km model. This is also 00Z, so this was run at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time this afternoon. Very similar story here, maybe a slight difference on the timing. This is 3 p.m., this is 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6. So it doesn't have as scattered thunderstorms. It mostly keeps it to the foothills and surrounding communities, with a chance for a few storms to drift west into the South Puget Sound. Looks like the best chance is probably going to be right around 4 p.m. for the South Sound. A few isolated cells over here, not much for the North Sound, unlike the high resolution model, which shows some for the King County Snohomish County border as well. This is the University of Washington super high resolution forecast model. This is 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time tomorrow. 2, 3, 4, 5. By 5 p.m. it shows quite an abundant storm complex over Lewis County, and the forecast model has this moving north-northwest. 7 p.m. near Mount Rainier, it has a few scattered storms down here, with some storms forming in the Snoqualmie Valley. Then by the time 9 p.m. rolls around, activity starts to die out, and just like that, blank radar over western Washington. The National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center has a general thunderstorm risk for a good majority of the Pacific Northwest. This is day 2 tomorrow, and then day 3 they also have a good portion of the Pacific Northwest in a general risk, but confidence is lower for any thunderstorms on Tuesday. Down at the bottom of the page, they say, with generally modest instability and deep layer shear across the region, the organized severe thunderstorm threat appears limited at this time. However, there is still a general threat for small hail, gusty winds, frequent lightning. There's always a chance that one of these storms could become severe and start producing large hail or damaging winds. And some of these storms are moving slow, so they could also bring a flash flooding risk to some foothill and cascade locations. This forecast model run is once again the high resolution model. This is going to show total precip accumulation across the area over a 48-hour period. Not going to be very much rain over the lowlands or the foothills, so most of these storms that do move through could be dry storms, and that could also bring an enhanced wildfire risk to the area. So be careful out there, everybody. If you don't absolutely have to burn, I would not burn outside. The North American Mesoscale model has a similar scenario. It only shows around 1/10 of an inch for the Central Sound, maybe a little over 1/4 inch for the South Sound, Southwest Interior. So the general consensus is there's not going to be a ton of rain with these, and the air is still going to be warm, but it's going to be warm and moist. So it is going to be a muggy day tomorrow when these storms move in. The supercell thunderstorm composite is relatively low for this area, so the severe thunderstorm risk is low at the moment, but this could change. It shows a nice supercell composite over the central Washington Cascades, but I don't expect that to move into the lowlands. Once again, not much to show on the significant tornado parameter. Some of the mid-level lapse rates around the foothills and surrounding areas are a little bit impressive for this area. Not too crazy, but 7.4 degrees Celsius per kilometer is really decent for this area. But I do think the bigger story is the lower level lapse rates. This is for 2 p.m. across western Washington. You see lots of red and dark red. This is 9.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer, with the peak being at around 5 p.m. and then things quickly start to die out. So 5 p.m. the low level lapse rates in the area are going to be extremely high. One last little thing before I wrap this video up, I want to show you guys a visible satellite loop of the upper level low that's moving towards us. I'm going to put the visible into smooth motion. As of earlier this afternoon, it looks like the low center is in northwestern Nevada, southeastern Oregon, and it's slowly moving its way north-northwest. Switching over to the infrared satellite. Infrared shows very cold cloud tops. These are high cloud tops for this region. Those are going to be moving north-northwest. Now, the one thing Windy does not have is simulated satellite imagery for the future, but I do have a good feeling that we will be seeing cloud tops between 30 and 35,000 feet over this area, which once again is uncommon, but not unheard of. All right, everybody, I think that should do it for today's weather forecast discussion. There was a lot of stuff to cover. Hopefully I simplified it enough for everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Comment down below. Visit the Puget Sound Stormwatch Facebook page. And if you're coming from the Facebook page, feel free to subscribe. Once again, happy Mother's Day to all of you wonderful mothers out there. Tomorrow is going to be another scorcher of a day, so be sure to stay cool out there, guys. and I will see you next time on Puget Sound Stormwatch.